Hello YouTube. Another update from Tuna Lake. Possible the last update from this season. Today is a very nice day with great weather. It is much warmer as it should be around this time of the year. It's 20 degrees Celsius and that is a little bit too warm for comfort. But okay, let's move on. Let's pretend that it is all okay and that it is all normal. So I will go along with that for this video because I don't want to upset too many people. I want to talk about the successes and the failures of this year and how I am looking forward to the next season, the things that I have learned, and more about that sort of stuff. Now let's start with the rose. The rose is struggling. The leaves are getting attacked by something just as fast or a little bit faster as they can grow. So maybe that I didn't plant it right, maybe it is the wrong spot, maybe it is the watering scheme that I am doing wrong, but we will see. I will leave it alone, and if it survives, it survives, and if it dies, it dies. It is simple as that. I don't like needy people. I also don't like needy plants, so if my plants are too needy for my comfort, they will die. It's simple as that. Another big failure is my buxus. It is heavily attacked by something, and I'm sure that the next year it will be growing again. But to me, it is a sign that something was wrong with the soil. And the idea behind it is that, according to a professor that I watched, insects cannot attack healthy trees and healthy plants, because healthy trees and healthy plants produce too much sugars, and the insects are not able to digest that amount of sugar. That is why insects will always attack plants or trees that are not healthy. And maybe the plants or the trees look healthy from the outside, but most of the time it is an indication that the type of soil where that tree or plant stands is not right for the species of tree or plant. And what is going on here, because this buxus has been here for a long time, longer than I live here, so it is probably my fault that this is going wrong. Well, not completely, but because we have an invasive moth species that is attacking this bush, so that is not helping. But they should not be able to attack it because of the sugars. So what did I do wrong? Well, I have been experimenting with the bubbler, and that was not a success. I have decommissioned the bubbler. I was throwing in all kind of stuff just to see what it would do, but the result is too inconsistent, You have to deal with ambient temperature and whatnot. And I have been watering my garden with this stuff, and to be honest, that was not a success. So what happened is I watered my hanging baskets with it, and it is reviving because I have been doing other stuff with it that does work, but you can see the leaves were dying, and now it's getting new leaves, despite that it is October. But the plant was dying, and this was not really taking off either. And that plant on the north side of Tuna Lake, look, this one was also dying, and those little pink flowers were completely gone. But now that I am doing the other thing, it is reviving. It will be the last days that it will be so nice, because next week the temperatures are going to drop significantly. They are going to be as they should be around this time of the year. But the point is that I had some failures. This was not a success either. Same reason, not the right nutrients, and a little bit too much experimentation. But that is a lesson learned for the next year. Another failure is flowers. As you can see, there are no flowers. I have tried here. I have seeded many poppy seeds. This one is trying. I had a little bit of luck this year in the pots with the poppy seeds, but not the result that I had hoped for. And it is the same reason I watered it with the water from the water barrel with the bubbler, and it made things stop growing. That's just how it is. But what does work? Oh, this is another failure. I had some failures this year. This is a mixed result. I had planted about 30 flowers in here, and I have no idea what went wrong. I know that this is an experimental planter with wood chips and compost and lots of biomass. And each time that I watered the plants, they would die. They would start to die. But if I didn't water the plants, these ones would die. So at some point in time, I was sick and tired of tempering it, and I just watered it, and what survives will survive, and what dies will die. And these are doing well, and the other ones, all these twigs, they just died. But the strange thing is that this one started to grow, and I didn't plant it here, and I have no idea what it is, but it grows happily. So also the level from the soil has sunken in significantly. The level was around here, and it shrunk a lot. So next year I want to fill it up with compost and plant it again and see what happens. Maybe that the wood chips were not well, how do I say that? Maybe that the whole planter was not seasoned enough yet. So we will see what happens next year. These were pepper plants. The snails ate all the leaves. Here is another one. It was another failure. So I had some major failures over here. In the beginning of the season it was doing very well, and all of a sudden I had a nutrient deficiency, and it went completely wrong. As you can see, it doesn't look too healthy. My plan for the next season is to thin out a lot of the plants. I know that it is overpopulated. I did it on purpose because I was curious to see what happens. So next year I'm going to thin a lot of it out, because when it is producing strawberries as it should, it is producing way too many strawberries for me to eat. And if I leave them on the plants, they will start to ferment and create all kind of problems for the water quality. So it makes more sense to thin it out and to plant something else. My chive had a rough year this year, another sign that something was wrong with the water quality. And I tried to do something about the nutrient deficiency, and that worked, but I overdid it. So I created a new problem, and that stopped the growth of the plants a little bit, and I solved it a little bit with adding the worm liquid, which I will show in a minute. So I think that I have discussed most of the failures of this year. This is another result of watering with the experimental bubbler. Not a great success. But let's talk about the things that went right, and things that I think will make the next season a lot better. First of all, I have collected a lot of biomass, and predominantly woody material. There's also a lot of leaves in it. So for the future, it takes time to decompose all this stuff, and I don't have a shredder, so everything is chopped by hand with a branch cutter. I chop it reasonably short. I don't want to spend whole weeks chopping wood by hand, so it's not as short as I would like it to be, but it is okay. This lilac shrub is very soft wood, and the wood decomposes very fast. I also have some wood chips that I bought this year. They were half the price because there was a hole in the bag, and the wood chips had had fungi on them. So I negotiated with the guy from the store, and I got the bag for half the price. But to be honest, I was willing to pay double the price because it was already inoculated with fungi. But I didn't tell that to the guy. In fact, this has fungi on it as we speak. But I've spreaded some of that around, so I hope, that will help to inoculate the wood that I had already here. Another success in the making hopefully, is my nice compost pile. For you big landowners, this is completely nothing. I understand that. But if you have a garden that is 10 by 10 meter, this is a huge pile of compost. I turn it every day, I make it wet. So far I think that I do not have enough nitrogen rich material in it, because I have not been able yet to get any temperature in it. I try to hot compost it. I have to be a little bit careful because I live in an urban area and I don't want things to get on fire, which is very much possible. There's a little bit of coniferous branches in it, not too much because I don't want to make the pile too acidic, but a little bit doesn't hurt. And the worms that I find in my garden, I put them in the pile, and if the hot composting doesn't work, the worms will turn it into very high quality compost. So I made some room, and I decided to create this pile and see what happens. Now my biggest success for this year is or what I consider as my biggest success for this year is the worm bins. I mean, I am very happy about the result, and I am very happy about what the final product does, and I will give you a little demonstration about what I do. Sometimes every day, sometimes I skip a day. I start with watering the bin. I make it wet also almost every day. Not too much, but I just keep it wet. But I will show you the inside in a minute. First I show you what I do to get what I want to have, and that is this. That is all that I do. That is that is all the labor. I will let it finish. It is not too much, but it is about half a cup or so, and I have the same amount from the other bin. Sometimes it is a little bit more, sometimes it is a little bit less, and I will close it for now. That's enough for now. So now we have this very brown liquid, and I did something that is not too smart. I locked myself in with the lamp. Watch out that I do not throw anything in my worm liquid. And now I do the same thing over here. Hoppa. That was all the hard labor that I have to do for today. So we let it drip. And this bin, the liquid has a little bit lighter color, but this bin is new and the other bin is about a year old or so. And I will show you the inside in a minute, because the amount of worms have multiplied significantly since I started to make their special food with the blender. I still do that. I have made a batch, and that is in my freezer as we speak. So what do I do with this liquid? I will grab my nice big watering can. I do it in this watering can. Like this. You need to have a steady hand for that. And normally I flush this out and I do it inside here as well, but for now I will set it aside. And then I go look for my small watering can. That's here. And my garden hose. And then I fill up this watering can so that I have 10 liters. But just to make it easier to apply, I fill this watering can with the water that is inside here. So it's not too heavy and it is easier to dose it. And this one has finer holes in the sprout, so I do not waste so much of my precious worm juice. And this stuff really works. I mean, I don't care what people say. I have a feeling that you cannot apply too much. It is very mild for the plants. And like I said, since I started, I'm a little bit out of breath. Since I started applying only the worm liquid mixed with water, this plant immediately started to regrow the leaves, and it even has new flowers, and we are halfway in the month of October, so that it's pretty unique for the time of the year. But the regrowth of the leaves, that was a very clear sign to me that the worm liquid is working very well. And the same with this plant. I mean, maybe if I'm lucky, I will even get some flowers on this one, if it is able to flower within the next 2 days, because soon we will get temperatures that is close to freezing, and then everything will stop growing. So that was a success. And another success is what is inside the bin. So I will open this one up because I have more light here, a little bit more light. The other bin, I think, is even better, but I will show you. A little bit difficult with one hand. There are people who grab this stuff with their hands, but I'm not a big fan of that. This is the paper bedding that I made from cardboard boxes. I have a small office shredder. It is not rated to shred cardboard, but when you rip the cardboard in narrow pieces, the machine can just handle it, and that gives this final product. And when you wet it, you can easily rip it apart. But I will move some apart. Look, I hope that you can see it, because there is a big pile of worms. Oh man. Ooh. They are everywhere. And I also believe that those are cocoons, those little specks. So there will be many more worms very soon. And there's really a lot. There's a lot more as I used to have. I see them everywhere. I hope that it shows up on camera, because they are quick and they are light. They don't like light. How's that called? Light phobic? I'm not sure. So I will put it back and put this back. So I have been blending food. I've been blending carrots, bananas, corn, lettuce, and I've mixed that all together, and I put scoops under the bedding, and the worms love it, and they have multiplied exponentially. I count them every day. No, just kidding. But I can clearly see that that there are a lot of more worms, and what I am trying to do is, because I cannot put these bins inside, so they have to survive the winter, whatever happens. So what I'm trying to do is, I am trying to give them high nutrient-rich food so that they are nice and fat for the winter, and then they have a better chance to survive and a better chance to reproduce. So I will have a better chance that I have still worms when the next season starts. And that is the idea behind the absurd food processing program that I have for the worms. So I consider my worm bins as the biggest success of the year, and I like it that I can get a product just by moving the tap, and the big benefit from it, to my opinion, is that you can apply it very easy, and that you can dilute it so that you can cover a bigger area that will get the highly nutrient rich liquid. Of course, when you dilute it, it will not be as concentrated, but that doesn't matter, because I have new worm liquid every day or every other day, so I can apply it whenever I want. And another big advantage is when you have hanging baskets, you cannot continue to add compost, because at some point in time the basket will be full, and it to me it seems easier to tap the liquid and just pour it in and you're done. I don't have to sift my compost from the worms and the cocoons. There is no labor in it. I just water the bin, I give the worms their food, and I tap the liquid and I pour the liquid in my garden. So I also use the worm tea for my grow beds, because it started to become a little bit of a disaster, and I started to just water the grow beds, and I'm not sure if it helped or not, it sure didn't kill the plants, and it didn't kill the fish. And I have new fish fry in my pond, very small ones, about this big. So next year I will have new fish. And I also have a frog that has chosen my little tuna lake as its home. Usually it will sit somewhere around this rim or on this rock, but I think that I spooked it earlier today, and it is also very... it's there. It's hard to spot, but it's there. I will see if I can zoom in. How does that work? Why can't I zoom in? I cannot zoom in anymore because I have the stabilization function on. But it is just above my finger. There it sits. If I come too close, it will jump in the water, and I don't want to spook it. Wait, just above my finger. But you probably can't see it. I have a feeling that it is looking at me and that it is ready to jump, so I will leave it alone. But I'm very happy about it, because it will help to prevent overpopulation of my pond. It will eat small fish fry, which is not a bad thing, because I don't want too much fish in my pond. And it is also a sign that my pond is okay, despite the little mistakes that I made. But if a frog wants to live there, it says something about the quality of the water. And I also enjoy it. I mean, it is a joy to watch. And this is not my pet. It is a wild animal that has chosen to be here and that has chosen to stay here. So I like that a lot. And all amphibians are protected animals here in the Netherlands. I mean, I would be allowed to move it to a different place, but I cannot kill it or something like that. So that is another success. Well, what else do I have to talk about? The grass is doing much better as it did in previous years. I had mixed some charcoal powder, not biochar. It was not charcoal that was quenched. This was normal charcoal. I pulverized it, and I took the solids that I collect in the filter from my pond, and I mixed those solids with the charcoal and with some water. And after it was mixed, I did let the sun evaporate all the water, so that all in my mind all the nutrients would get sucked up by the charcoal. And I applied that powder to my grass, and I see a significant improvement in at least in color. It is much greener, darker green as it ever used to be. So to me that it is a sign that my lawn was suffering from a nutrient deficiency. And what I also noticed is that the density from the grass is much higher. That is also because I seeded the grass with extra seeds, with different varieties of grass. But in previous years I also seeded the grass, but the seeds had always had a hard time to germinate. And this year I have seen a massive improvement in germinization. Is that a word? It germinated much easier and much faster than previous years, and it would grow very well. Here we can see fine grass. It's still growing. I mean, for this time of the year that is special anyway, but the grass was a success, but the dandelions, well, that sucks, but I did not do anything about it because I heard that they will disappear by themselves eventually. And this area always has a little bit more trouble growing because it has a lot more shade. But considering or comparing to previous years, it is still doing very well. These plants are a little bit of a mystery as well, because when I give them regular water they will show signs of stress, but I started to give them the worm liquid and they seem to like it. But it is the end of the year, so they will soon disappear. The nights are getting too cold, so they are a little bit struggling right now, but I hope that with my lessons learned that I will get more success for the next year. Well, what you don't see, what I have done, is I have planted 110 flower bulbs. Some of them I planted here, and some of them I planted here and there, and some of them I planted here and in my pots back there. I planted some over here, so we will see what it's going to do in 5 months from now. I hope to have a little bit more flowers as I had this year. Well, I have prepared a lot of bedding. That's quite a lot of work to do, to be honest, but that's enough for the coming months. The worms will stop eating as it is getting too cold, and I will not have too much food to give them, so that will be on a low activity. I also had all these buckets filled with biomass as an experiment to see how it would compost and if it would compost, but I decided to put it all on a single pile, and I hope that I will get some good compost a little bit quicker. And as I mentioned before, I think that I have too much brown material at the moment, so I think that's the reason why I do not see any temperature rise in the pile. How do I know that I do not have any temperature? Well, I have a very sophisticated heat sensor, and the heat sensor says no heat, and when I turn it I also feel and I look if I see any steam, and I do not feel any heat or steam. So the plan is, I hope that I am able to make the grass grow a little bit longer for the last time this year, and that I can cut enough grass, and then what I want to do is I want to put the grass somewhere in the middle of the pile, nicely tucked together, and I hope that will kick off the hot composting process. And in the meanwhile I will keep adding coffee pads, which is also a very good source of nitrogen, and I hope that it will kick off at least a little bit, and if it doesn't, I will keep adding grass the next season, and once there is enough green material in the pile, and once it kicks off, you can have usable compost in 2 weeks or so. So I hope that I have usable compost from this pile, I don't know, maybe somewhere by the start of May. Maybe I'm too optimistic, but I hope so. And if the hot composting doesn't work, the worms will do their job. So that is about it. It is a long video, 42 minutes at the moment. I'm going to end it here. This is probably the last update because the weather is getting cold. I will not spend a lot of time in my garden anymore. Maybe that I am going to try to save this plant by hanging it in my little shed. I'm not sure if I'm able to save it, otherwise I will buy new ones next year. I hope you enjoyed watching. If there are any questions, I will answer them in the comment section. And otherwise I will wish you a very nice end of the season. I hope that everything will grow well in your local area, that you have plenty of rain and just enough sunshine to make things grow happily. I hope that you will not have the unbearable heat waves that are predicted for the future, but let's pretend that that is not a problem, and I have nothing else left to say than I will see you in the next season, and let's see what the next season is going to bring for Tuna Lake, and if I am able to grow some flowers in this garden, because that would be nice. Thank you for watching, wish you all well, and bye bye for now.